Hey everyone, my name is Vojchehoske. I'm the director of Randall School of Real Estate, and welcome to our YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to discuss a law called the Carbon Monoxide Safety Act. And if you're a real estate professional operating in Nebraska, or you're a student studying for their real estate licensing exam, you have to know this because it comes right out of Nebraska's license law manual. So let's get to the Carbon Monoxide Safety Act. So in today's video, we're going to discuss the Carbon Monoxide Safety Act, which essentially requires certain types of properties to have carbon monoxide detectors installed on the property and in specific locations and those type of things if certain conditions apply. And we're going to discuss all of those conditions. But before we do that, please do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button, click on the notification bell. Certainly share this with anybody that you think might benefit from its content. All right, so this law, it was passed a couple years ago by the Nebraska legislature, and here's what it requires. If you're a seller, a manager, or a landlord of single-family homes, duplexes, triplexes, or multifamily, such as apartment communities, which includes condos, cooperatives, and independent living facilities, then you have to have located and installed in that dwelling carbon monoxide detectors if, and at the bottom of your screen, here are the requirements. If you have a fuel-fired heat source, and what we mean by that is anything basically that generates a flame. So if it's natural gas, if it's fuel oil, if it's a wood-burning stove, anything that heats the property that generates a fire, it would require carbon monoxide detectors. If this property has any type of fuel-fired or fuel appliances, such as gas dryers and hot water heaters and gas stoves, then carbon monoxide detectors would be required. If there is a fireplace, whether the fireplace is wood burning or whether it's gas, doesn't matter, and it doesn't even matter if the fireplace is working or not. The fact that it has a fireplace, under the law, it would require that that dwelling have a carbon monoxide detector. And then last but not least, if the property has an attached garage. And it was kind of interesting. I was at the committee hearing when they were discussing this particular proposed legislation, and somebody from one of the industries had said, they made a comment about how often that the remote starts on vehicles, they malfunction. And there are vehicles that have these remote starts, and they'll start like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning without even pressing the button. It's just a malfunction and the vehicle starts, which means that if the vehicle starts and it's an attached garage, everybody's sleeping in the household, then bad things are going to happen. So that's why there's that requirement for an attached garage. And understand this, it's one of the four, not all four. Okay, so if it's a single family home that's being sold, or it's a single family rental or whatever, and it has an attached garage, or it just has a fireplace, one out of the four is all that it takes to trigger this law. Because check this out, you could have electric heat, so it's not fuel fired. So electric heat, you have all electric appliances, you have an electric hot water heater, you don't have a fireplace, but you have an attached garage. Guess what? You got to have carbon monoxide detectors. The only way you would not be required to have a carbon monoxide detector is if it was electric heat, electric appliances, including the hot water heater, it had no fireplace, and it had no garage or a detached garage, then you would not need a carbon monoxide detector. So let's now talk about the carbon monoxide detectors itself. They can be battery powered, they can be the plug-in type, they can be hardwired. But if they're hardwired, there must be some type of battery backup. You may use the dual carbon monoxide detector, smoke detector all in one. You can use those. And here's the thing that you need to know, particularly you real estate agents practicing currently. It is a seller responsibility, and it's not a responsibility that can be negotiated off. It is absolutely 100% the seller responsibility or the landlord or the manager's responsibility to ensure smoke or these carbon monoxide detectors are placed properly in this dwelling. So the law says that prior to transfer of title or prior to transfer of the legal right of possession, which is occupancy, prior to, there must be those carbon monoxide detectors properly installed and in good operating condition. It is not okay under this law if the buyer's agent discovers at the walkthrough 2 days before closing that there are no carbon monoxide detectors, and the seller or the agent just simply gives the buyer one at closing, at the closing table. That is actually a violation of this law. The law is very strict. It must be properly installed and it must be in good operating condition prior to transfer of title, prior to transfer of the legal right of possession. It's not negotiable. All right. So it is also, this is cool, it is also unlawful for anyone, i.e. a tenant, for example, to in any way make these detectors inoperable, so that if they remove the batteries because they're chirping and they don't replace it with a new one, that's actually an unlawful act. It's a crime. It's a misdemeanor. They can be charged with a misdemeanor. That includes anybody that makes a carbon monoxide detector inoperable, including unplugging it from the wall, taking the battery out, messing with the wiring for the built-in systems, whatever the case may be, it's illegal. And then this is important at the bottom or the last bullet point. So where do these carbon monoxide detectors have to be located? They must be located on each habitable level of the residential dwelling, or as determined by local jurisdiction. Local jurisdictions can have stricter requirements than this, and there are a few that do. So you have to know what your local jurisdiction's requirements are. But what is a habitable level? A habitable level has nothing to do with whether or not there's finished square footage on that level. If the level is big enough for people to dwell in and hang out in, then there has to be one. So for example, you may have a second level, a first level, and an unfinished basement. All three would have to have a working, properly installed carbon monoxide detector, including the unfinished basement. So those are all right, that's everything that you need to know as a real estate professional and or a student studying for their real estate licensing exam about the Carbon Monoxide Safety Act. If you have any questions, here's our contact information. More than welcome to call at any time. All right, guys, I'll see you all in the next video.